Up some sort of bank over here. This fifth one coming down here. You got this crap over here. Crap there. They're definitely building this up here. It's all fucking dust, man. It's all spray dust. Got enough dust in your air? Fuck.
We're seeing, as in this example here, very hardy native plants completely flash out dead. That looks like it's been hit with some kind of a chemical. And we've only seen this in the last couple of years. And there's another one there, back over there. We're seeing mature madrone trees, which are 70, 80 feet high, flash out dead, just like this. USDA refuses to investigate it.
The pH typically around here should be about 5.6. Well, since the contrailing got heavy, I watched the pH here in these forests, well, go up, I guess would be the word. From 5.6, it went about 20 times more alkaline.
Very big red flag of fallout from these materials are pH changes to the forest floor. We have very extensive studies from the U.S. Department of Agriculture on the soils in our region, and those soils have changed in 5 to 6 years. The pHs have changed in this area as much as 10 to 12 times toward alkaline in 5 to 6 years. I've personally been in the forest testing with USDA soil scientists who just scratch their heads and seem to have no explanation for incredibly profound changes in pH, which is affecting the ecosystem here tremendously.
Aluminum buffer action, aluminum hydroxide is what we think it is, plus the barium carbonate, strontium titanate, strontium oxides, barium oxides, probably some aluminum oxides in there, that this has apparently driven our acid soils about 20 times more alkaline to about 6.8.
There are simply too many dots here that connect. Our skies are almost never blue anymore. That is a named consequence of geoengineering. The amount of lost sunshine hitting the planet right now is beyond belief. If people look up the term global dimming, they will see that fully 20% of the sun's rays that reached the planet several decades ago are no longer reaching the planet. I mean, that's a profound change that few people even know is occurring. And you have very visible occurrences in the sky from the aircraft, a very visible sun-blocking, expanding, dingy trails that are exactly what geoengineering patents describe.
Heavy aluminum, I'm talking like in the 40s and 50s up to 3, 4, 5,000. That's still common. Barium, strontium to somewhere 40 or 50 to again about 2,000 or 3,000. Same for both barium and strontium.
Where is this mountain of metal coming from? Why is asthma, ADD, Alzheimer's, autism, all elements related in many studies to aluminum or particulate inhalation? Why are these ailments going off the charts with no apparent explanation? Why has respiratory mortality in the continental United States gone from 8th on the list to 3rd in 6 years? And no one seems to ask any questions. Why every other person has asthma now? Why every other commercial on TV is an allergy medication? And again, when David Keith, the world's most recognized geoengineer, was asked on the record, had there been any studies done as to the consequences of dumping 20 million tons of aluminum in the atmosphere, his answer was patently no.
I've done studies in Siskiyou County. They're at 20% of normal. The aquatic insects basically made a nosedive in 2006 to about 20% of normal. So far this year, I've sampled 200 trout stomachs. 98% of them are empty. So sorry about the trout fishing, fellows. The mayflies, stoneflies, dipterus, and caddisflies are damn near gone. The terrestrial sampling is down to about 20% of normal, except for pest species like ants. We're seeing a loss of the major bird species, and as the gentleman said, the ecosystem is unraveling, and Audubon's been telling you that for years.
The materials that are going into the environment right now, aluminum oxide nanoparticles and barium nanoparticles, these just happen to be the same materials that they use in nanothermate explosives. And so when this stuff settles down out of the air into the environment, it is small enough to be absorbed through the root structure of the trees in the forest. And so when there's a forest fire, and there will be a forest fire, those fires burn dramatically hotter. The point is that the cost of firefighting, the cost in the healthcare system have nearly doubled in the last 10 years. The amount of acreage is lost because of fires. The impact on human health is dramatic.
I personally tested water and aluminum, and I found aluminum had 47 times the normal expected amounts. Strontium had 10 to 20 times the amounts. Barium was 20 times. This is
Stop this evil crime.
In the bright light of day, they brazenly spray these chemtrails into the atmosphere that bring disease and distress. It's a toxic game of chess they play without a bit of guilt or fear. They're murdering us from the sky. It's time to stop the madness, the endless evil crime, murdering us from the sky. 'Cause if we don't, we'll die. Sure, there's lots of other things I'd rather think about or do, but it's hard to with what's going on above. And if you feel like me, that it's a human tragedy, let the ones in power know you've had enough of this murdering us from the sky. It's time to stop the madness, the endless evil crime, murdering us from the sky.
Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say? Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with that.
In a very, very bad state. others were just totally bewildered, I would say. But nobody in their own imagination would have imagined they were going straight to die.
Deliberate deception and secrecy was key to the SS killing machine. The Nazis couldn't afford panic or the threat of an uprising amongst the new arrivals. So beautifully landscaped gardens were planted to reassure the prisoners as they were led from the trains to the gas chambers. The crematoria themselves were hidden from the inmates within a wall of birch trees.
Many of them were sitting in the woods. You know, there are lots of woods there. They were just sitting around, waiting to go into the gas chambers, because they had no idea. People didn't know. They thought they were told by loudspeakers they were going to have showers.
So we didn't believe what they were saying. Whoever heard of gassing people and burning them? Whoever would dream of it? A cultured people, the Germans, musicians, authors. It's incredible. I mean, nobody can do that.
And I still didn't believe that they were killing people. I still didn't believe that they were gassing people, because I believed my wife and child was alive.
A side that I counted to be very, very important. I don't think he did. He said they spent half a year and $10 billion to optimize the cluster topology. And this is something that I guess says nothing to anyone here, but if you're into the topic, if it's like having a virus and you want to bring the virus into a human being to have him infected with this, cluster topology is of no interest. You need to think about cluster topologies if you want to have these RNA or DNA clusters carry intelligence, carry soul, carry an artificial life form. Then it makes sense. And if you picture this, we are infected with this RNA. And the RNA is forming a cluster of 1 millimeter distances around us. And a cluster like this is able to carry a computer program or an artificial, non-physical structure or being. This structure can hoover through the field, but it also can hoover into us. And this structure knows how to access the light production, and it knows how to access the production of poisons, and it also carries intelligence in itself and has the ability to make decisions. This is something that is just implied by the fact that he said we needed to optimize cluster topology.
Stupefied. S-C-O-O-P. Okay, what is it? Tell me. FIED. All right, what they've got is in their December 2013 issue says, based on classified documents leaked, this will only take a minute, leaked by a source currently serving in a very high position with the Department of Defense, the following has been revealed. Nano devices have been dispersed through the public water supply, through bottled water, and through the food supply. The leaked documents indicate that an estimated 87% of the population are currently infected with at least one of these nano devices. The government's goal is 98%. They expect this to be achieved possibly by January 2014. The sociopathic forces within the U.S. government plan to use this system in conjunction with a planned economic collapse.
Those wicked white lines, they're poison, fall on you and I. These devious deeds will sadly proceed until we all demand an answer.
And I've actually read that before. Remember that last year? It does
doesn't matter because the Sunshine Project 15 years ago, based in Austin, like WikiLeaks, got declassified Marine Corps documents that the Marine Corps freaked out on and had to reclassify. This ended up being in the newspaper. The Marine Corps actually went to their headquarters and threatened them. The professors at UT, I had them on. It was UT professors running it. And it's a plan with helicopters, including remote-controlled drone helicopters, waiting with nerve gas on board over every major city to launch and kill everybody. Now, the declassified documents dealt with opiate knockout gases that they estimate would still kill more than 10% of the population with fires, car wrecks, explosions. Like in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the helicopter flies over and sprays the knockout gas on all the people and the farm animals. That's really, this is how out of control the government is. I mean, they're not just going to radiate troops and give them nerve gas. They're not just going to inject people with syphilis for 45 years. They're not just taking blood from a baby at birth. They're doing it all. And yes, all nanotech is search biological nanotech. They've already rolled it out. They've got a lot of new vaccines that they call biological nanotech. And it's in the literature that you're already being injected with nanotech. The H1N1 vaccine was a engineered nanotech virus and was put out in the population the year before. That was declassified. They called it a tracker viral simulant. That it turned out was a real autoimmune suppressing weapon. It didn't even really give you the flu. And that even came out in the Canadian news. Because so many scientists and government people are not bad. The other uncompartmentalized side, that's why they want total control to shut that down. They would then go to the research at one university or at the federal government in Canada in that case and go, oh my gosh, this is giving you the regular flu. Oh my gosh, this is a nanotech. Oh look, literature. Last year this was put in the vaccine as a virus tracker, a quote harmless flu, but they could test the spread of it. It wasn't. They literally put a nanotech bioweapon. This came out in the news, not in speculative websites, just claiming classified documents without linking to them. When we give you a classified document, folks, we link to it. You know, we have the FBI show up here. We have the Secret Service show up here. We have the Federal Marshals show up here. You know, I get to get beaten up in parking lots. I mean, this is real. So the whole issue here is that I just don't like just thinking, I got a document or this document or that without a document. Our documents will have phone numbers. You can call up angry feds on them and who will threaten you and say you shouldn't have this. Our documents become national news stories because they're real. They're rolling out everything, folks. So yes, it's the end of free will. And the establishment is insane and needs to stop it. You are the threat to the planet. You are the people that detonated over 100 high-powered hydrogen bombs in North American airspace to try to blow holes in the ozone layer and destroy the Van Allen radiation belt and ignite the atmosphere and cause a electromagnetic event to test blowing out transistors.
They're murdering us from the sky. It's time to stop the madness and end this evil crime of murdering us from the sky. If we don't, we'll die.
Stop this evil crime.
In the bright light of day, they brazenly spray these chemtrails into the atmosphere that bring disease and distress. It's a toxic game of chess they play without a bit of guilt or fear. They're murdering us from the sky. It's time to stop the madness and end this evil crime, murdering us from the sky. 'Cause if we don't, we'll die. Sure, there's lots of other
a North State neurologist who sees a lot of the local patients is, in his words, extremely alarmed at their lessening cognitive abilities. They can't think clearly. How many people are getting forgetful? Your short-term memory is the first thing to go as your neurological system becomes damaged from air pollution. And now look at the studies we have. And I don't want anybody to believe a word I'm saying. Please just search this out. We're now seeing studies from major institutions stating that particulates in the air appear to be the greatest single causal factor for neurological disease. They don't acknowledge climate engineering, of course. That would be a grave mistake on their part, because the hammer of the government would be lowered on them immediately in countless ways. It's just a fact. This is a story that the government will try to hide as long as they can, but this issue, more than any other issue, affects every single one of us, everything we hold dear. It's the greatest single effect on the future that our children may not have now because of the damage being done by these programs. A lot of sources of human damage to the planet. I'm not trying to ignore that at all. But the greatest single assault on the environment, on us, on the biosphere as a whole, is without question, mathematically, climate engineering.
We stand today looking up into the sky and wondering what's going on, and it's loaded with chemicals, and some of the chemicals are heavy metals, aluminum and cadmium, beryllium, barium, a few others, and I do an awful lot of work. And so when we're looking at hair analysis, which is a low-level chronic toxicity analysis, I'm beginning to see more and more, particularly in the last 5 years, of our children having a spike of cadmium and aluminum. Now, we thought we had the aluminum under control back in the day by what we did with eliminating some of the foods, and mom's becoming better at that, but now we're seeing more of it starting to spike. So through my colleagues and through some conversations, we're finding that it's actually coming from the air. These nanoparticles of these heavy metals that are being sprayed are actually, we breathe them, and our children who play outside a lot become effective. And what this does is it affects your brain. It actually, we think it has something to do with the spike in the autism in the last 5 years, a 25% spike. We also think it has something to do with some of the dementia that we're seeing. There's been a spike in that as well. So trying to explain what happened in the last 5 years, really we can kind of go back to seeing what's going on in the sky. Is a player. As far as it is a huge player, of course. But the thing of it is, what do? We need to become aware. We need to become aware that our sky is...
When you see the silvery white skies, which we see almost every morning in Northern California, the undefined, hazy, dirty clouds, skies full of sprayed aerosols is what we're looking at. These are aerosol clouds. And remember, clouds should be white, the sky should be blue. It's what it used to be. Find some old pictures and take a look. And remember that the express goal of climate engineering is to blot out the sun, to fill the atmosphere with these light-scattering particles, to block some of the incoming thermal radiation. Cataclysmic effects, but those in power don't seem to care. So, again, a mountain of toxic metals falling on all of us. Medical statistics are showing exactly what we would expect to see from this. All the human diseases that are related to these metals are going absolutely off the charts. As mentioned before, autism in the last 40 years has gone from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 47. That's over a 10,000% increase in autism. And now we have one of the most recognized institutions for research on the planet, MIT, stating that in less than 10 years, we will see 1 in 2 children with autism. Alzheimer's, 1 in 3 in the continental U.S. dies with Alzheimer's and or dementia. Not dies from it, but dies with it. All of us are becoming dumber by the day. It's not a joke. It's not a metaphor. It's a fact. Our cognitive ability is being damaged.